State of the nation. As you may have seen, various messages coming through from the leaders across the country asking us all to just come together to forge ahead in national unity. Well, this morning we're joined by Mr. Ahmed Sule, who is the ACF Youth General Secretary. Thank you for coming this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, perhaps you could tell us how instructive it is. Yes, the leaders are coming together speaking about national unity, and then we were just talking about it at the initial stage, how that the celebrations fell on a Sunday, and so the security personnel also, I'm sure they'll be thinking the kind of challenge they got in their hands now, but as it played out, maybe you should give us that perspective when it fell on a Sunday, how everybody felt when you hit the streets. Did you even notice or feel that, wait a minute, I have to look over my shoulder still? Or you just hit the street and, hey, happy holidays, everybody?
Yeah, well, first of all, happy holiday, and we are happy that we have seen the end of Ramadan.
Okay.
And I'm sure Muslims or Christians all observe Ramadan or fasting at a period through the year.
Yeah.
So in Muslims' quarter, they have successfully ended a 30-day fasting period. And talking about the serene atmosphere that you face on a festive morning, so to say, is not unexpected.
Really?
No, it's not, because first, the heat from your pocket makes you go cold. And then the unwary feeling of some cold hands crawling with a bag of maybe bomb thrown in some quarters and this and that makes you always tread carefully. If it is not necessary, you probably don't go out. So when you don't see anybody in the street, you already know why. So it's better safe than sorry. That's why you see less celebration.
Give us a perspective on this, because I mean, we also talked about it while we were opening here. Because I mean, those days when you went to school with Muslims and Christians, they all joked and laughed about even religious matters, which some consider very sensitive now, and eventually they all just forged ahead. But as time went on, when they left school, they've gone into different places in the country now, and it looks as if you just talk about one thing or the other, people become very sensitive, messages come through from here and there, and it looks as if people are preaching violence somehow. How do these just go wrong?
Well, first of all, in those days, the stress, everyday stress, was not as it is today, because we were happy with the little we had. Our parents were happy with the little they had. And the greed, that is the order of the day today, was not then. Because I remember clearly, the Christian looks forward to the day the Muslims will celebrate their festive days. And they get angry if you do not send a plate of food across to their home, and vice versa. The children likewise come in and eat day and night. They go about on the Salah days and on the Christmas days, complimenting each other. But those were those good old days.
So are you saying now that the basis for there is no place for extremism in the religion? That's what you're saying?
No,
the whole insurgence that we're experiencing is basically political.
Religion is a state of mind, and it's a personal thing, because no scripture had a sentence that imbibed violence.
How about
the message
jihad?
Hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
The message is the people's mindsets on trying to satisfy their own personal ideas, because when you talk about ideas, you suddenly start creating some wild ideas. Now imagine a pocket of a group of people like the Boko Haram, for example, trying to take over the government's machinery. They sit down and draw up some kind of plan or story, if you like, insisting that they intend to take control of federal government. They intend to make the whole of this Nigeria a Muslim state. For the right-thinking person, you were born and you woke up and you saw people of different religions. Just like your mother gave birth to you and she happens to be a Muslim and you grew up being a Muslim, first going to mosque. The Christian too went to the church. And suddenly you decided you wanted to change that. It's an impossible task.
It isn't so sudden, because this whole violence didn't start today. It started way back in the 80s. This is not the first time we're going to be seeing bombings and religious fight right now. So what exactly are you saying? You're saying that this, what you're saying now is that extremism does not exist in the religion, but that people who are perpetrating this evil have personal interest.
We are talking about the personal interest, because when you have your own personal interest and you juxtapose it against the national interest, then obviously something gives. Because what we are talking about here, why has Boko Haram remained faceless? It's because they are in the minority. You can pick them up if they come out, and there will be no more. But behind a cover, they are able to create the havoc they are creating. But unfortunately, you see, the federal government has its own side. At one point you will mention that you have so and so A and B suspects, like almost as if you can touch them, and then suddenly they disappear into thin air. That one extra step to improve on the situation is never made by the federal government. And who else is going to do it? They keep talking about people around to assist, to cooperate, to give information. Who is going to stick his neck out?
And I'm quite sure the people should be having a rethink now in that regard, because for the very first time I think we're getting to see the enormity of all of this insecurity in our communities. And for the first time, the doorbell in Kano, to the extent that everyone all over the world to come witness the doorbell, didn't hold this time around.
Very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
And I'm sure the Emir of Kano must have been hit the worst.
Honestly, very unfortunate, because that is why people should now realize that, look, it goes beyond the security operatives. I think should we start looking upon ourselves as the people, so that we can actually see how we can bring back all of these values and culture, which is almost gradually eroded?
No, it's just like what you see. Like, I'm sorry to say, the other day I was watching the TV and one great personality was talking about the changes that is needed in this country, going as far as saying he needs to see Mr. President in suits all the time instead of the Babari guy or the Agbada or whatever, but you see all that, you are just creating some obsolete issues into the mainstream, because it has nothing to do, it's your culture, and the suit is a foreign thing. You have already decided to exchange it for your own, and likewise so many other factors around our lives have been substituted. Everything ours is imported now. If it is not imported, it is not the best. From our shoes, up to our dining tables, up to our bathroom toilets, soaps.
Tell us a little bit.
Foreign.
Okay.
And once it is, then you are neither there nor here, because it's just like somebody who is born African keeps insisting that he is a white man. It's never going to be. You are a black man, and you have to behave in certain ways as black men will behave. I'm not saying they behave any more different than the white man, but the white man equally looks at the black man as a black man. There's no gainsaying about that. But we always keep confusing ourselves, and this is where things start going wrong.